And Rob, let's go to the NBA for a moment where the Lakers, I give them this. Do I think it was a turning point? Do I think it is a sign that they're a great team that's just been struggling? No. But
they got destroyed in the third quarter, but they did come back to win that game by, having a big fourth quarter. But Chris, after that third quarter, did you think like, what is going on here?
No, because, I've been watching the Lakers all year.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
So it wasn't honestly, Rob, I kind of expected it. What surprised me and what made me say, what is going on here was the comeback in the fourth quarter.
Don't call it a comeback.
Oh, man. And, Rob, I got to say this. And I've been covering the NBA since 1995. So what's that? 26 years. Rob, that dunk, that Westbrook dunk,
yes,
over Rudy Gobert, that's got to be one of the handful of best dunks I've ever seen
of all time that you've seen.
What'd you think? That was ferocious.
Well, of course, and of course to get over a big man like that and do that. Yeah, that you don't see that very often. So I agree. It was one of those. I was trying to think of some other ones, but yeah, it's hard to.
Kevin Johnson, was it on Olajuwon? When he kind of sat on his shoulders. He did that twice. I think it was Olajuwon once and maybe Brad Daugherty, but he had a couple. LeBron's had some, his dunk over Duncan, I believe it was crazy. Jordan obviously had several. Tree Rollins was one. So there have been.
The other one, though, to me.
Vince over Alonzo was ridiculous.
But don't forget the John Starks over Jordan and Pippen on the baseline in a playoff game. Chris, he changed hands. If you go back, if you guys have never seen, go look at it. John Starks is driving baseline. He has the ball, I believe, in his right hand, right? And he switches it to his left, and he dunks, and Jordan and Pippen are jumping at the same time.
I think is it Jordan and Horace Grant? But
Grant.
Sure.
You might be right. It might be Grant.
Grant was closer. He kind of dunked on Grant. Jordan was coming from the side and kind of tried to block it. But, yeah. But we'd have to really go back through the archives. But I'm comfortable saying that's one of the greatest dunks I've ever seen in a game. Like just dunking on somebody. It was ferocious. He left from close to the dotted line. He was giving up about a foot to the guy he dunked on. It was just crazy. But anyway, good win for the Lakers over the Utah Jazz. But really, I'd say just probably their best win of the season. But, Rob, a story came out today in The Athletic that said Frank Vogel's job is in serious jeopardy despite that win, and that he's basically coaching on a game-to-game basis. And, look, I don't think Frank Vogel is the problem. I think the problem, as we've said from day one, is you have a mismatched roster. You got a young star who's never healthy, and you don't have great shooting around LeBron James, which has always been the formula. But Rob, when you're in a situation like this where you don't know where to turn, a lot of times they make the coach the scapegoat, and he gets axed. And so I will see if this ends up happening with Frank Vogel. But I'm like, who you going with? Are you going to David Fizdale?
Yes, LeBron's guy from Miami. Yes, that's who you're going with. He's
an assistant coach on the staff. They were 1-5 when Vogel was out with COVID, Rob. They were 1-5 with Fizdale coaching.
So that's a better winning percentage than Vogel. No, I'm just kidding.
He's fine. You know what I mean? But he coached in New York.
It didn't work out with the Knicks.
Right.
No,
he was 1-5 when Vogel was out. Vogel comes back. They win 4 straight. I'm just saying, it's so clear that this would just be a move to just have a shakeup. And you know what? Sometimes that's legit, Rob. Right?
Chris,
we can't do it. We need a new voice.
Did we not see that in Atlanta? We saw that. In Atlanta, they made a change, right?
Well, Nate McMillan did well.
No, that's what I'm saying.
They got rid of Lloyd. Was it Lloyd? No, it was Lloyd Pierce. Lloyd Pierce.
They got rid of Lloyd Pierce. They remember the Hawks were struggling. They got rid of him. and they went on a run. I'm not, Chris, they got a lot of other issues. I'm with you. But sometimes you need to shake it up.
No,
sometimes
I get it, right.
you need to make a move. That was one of those where we saw it in Atlanta, and Nate McMillan's a fine coach. He's coached 3 or 4 different teams, and he's good. But he made a difference. I don't know if it's Fizdale or there's somebody else waiting in the wings, but Chris, there's no way you can stand pat and just be like, well, we just got to ride it out, because we're already past the halfway point, right? The Lakers are what, 22-22?
Yeah.
We're already past, literally the half point.
Right.
So at some point, and for them to be, evaluating him game to game means
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
That really
Can you imagine he heard that? Like, game to game.
Oh, I'm sure he'll get the memo.
So if we lose to a bad team, Sacramento again, I'm out. Like, seriously, I'm out.
Well, they got a tough schedule coming up, Rob. They got several good teams.
Sacramento.
It's not Sacramento. It seems like they've played Sacramento about 8 times already this season. But, Rob, I'm going to read you their schedule. And this would seem to just seal Vogel's fate.
But this might be a setup here, Chris, that they put it out there, knowing that they're going to go through this bad patch, and they'll probably lose a lot more than they win, and then this will justify it.
They host Indiana tomorrow night, Rob, and then they go out east for a 6-game road trip. Orlando, easy. But then you got Miami, Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Charlotte, which is no slouch,
right,
and Atlanta.
So it ain't that easy, right?
Right. If they go 1-5 on that trip, he's gone.
Say they lose to Orlando or something like that,
if that it's game to game and you lose to Orlando, if they lose bad to Indiana and then go out and lose to Orlando, he's probably gone.
He's done if they lose those 2 games. I agree.
And I did hear a few weeks ago somebody close to this that would know told me he is on the hot seat. Like,
is it because of the sloppy play? What is it? Because we get it. If players make baskets and don't turn the ball over, all coaches look good, but that's not how it goes. There's other times when they've blown big leads. Like what are they saying? Do they not like now about Vogel?
I don't know exactly what it is.
Okay.
This person just confirmed, because there had been a story that said, Vogel or somebody may have said it on the air or something, that he's in trouble. And I was trying to
Stephen
get
A.
confirmation.
said it. Remember Stephen A. said that that Vogel, he was the first one I heard publicly say.
Okay, so maybe that was, and I was getting confirmation.
Just some confirmation.
I don't know exactly what it is. I'll say this. I do think they're trying to play too fast. And that's a decision that the coaches have made, that they want to, play at a really fast pace. And I think that's a mistake. They're the oldest team in the league. I don't think it helps you that you're playing at such a fast pace. Now they've come down to 3rd. And the logic I understand. Let Westbrook do his thing, right? In the half court, he's going to struggle.
Right.
But where we can let him go and be unbridled and use his athleticism and energy is in the open court. So get out and run. All teams try to run opportunistically. But they should not be playing at the fastest pace because, Rob, and I said it earlier, you got LeBron James and you didn't put shooting around him. How has LeBron always won his championships? Shooting around him. Even in Miami when it was a different NBA. When the 3-point shot wasn't quite as important as it is now, Rob, you remember that series with Oklahoma City. Right. Shane Battier burying 3-pointers.
And Mike Miller. Mike Miller? Mike Miller went bananas, Battier. Chris. He went bananas.
Mario Chalmers could shoot. Obviously, Ray Allen, the shot hurled around the world. So you put shooters around LeBron. In Cleveland, Kyrie was a great shooter. Kevin Love could shoot. Kyle Korver was there. You had shooting. In L.A., that year when they won it, didn't quite have the shooting he normally has, but still, you space the floor, you put the ball in LeBron's hands. And that's one thing. They haven't done that, Rob. The second thing is LeBron's teams, if you look at it, all the teams he's won with have played slow. None of them have been in the top 10 as far as pace. LeBron plays at a slow pace because he can really control the game. And remember in 2015 when Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt in the finals and LeBron somehow had them competing through the first 3-4 games? It's because they slowed down the pace.
Right.
Rob, what was the score of the game when Kyrie hit the shot? 93-89.
I was going to say, right. It wasn't even over 100. I remember.
No. So that's where you can put that on the coaching. And will Fizdale change that if he's the one? We'll see. But Frank Vogel's not the main problem. But like you said, Rob, you can't trade or fire all the players.
You can't get rid of all the players. So sometimes it's just the only thing that they can do, and they can't sit pat because people will start to clamor. And you remember the other day when Magic went on Twitter and said that, where's the effort? Like that was I think that was one of those moments, Chris, right there.
It ain't good when you're, Mr. Laker is going on social media saying stuff like that.
Right, so that you're not even trying.
Right,
that's an indictment on the coach.
Well, and LeBron followed that up, Rob, with the apology.
Right.
And saying we're gonna turn it around. So they so far so good after the first win, but we'll see if Frank Vogel lasts.